for learning from Africa's great struggles. Adwa African victory is forever inspirational to achieve full African unity, dignity, pride, peace, security, and happiness forever. Special Adwa victory song, film, and handbook must come out by involving the African youth. Nothing is more important than getting the younger generation to be involved. We must make the younger generation the change makers and game changers. We are hoping all who are able will contribute. Continue. I say let the Adwa African victory continue. Learn through Adwa victory to remove division and realize fully the benefits of unity. There should have been Pan-African education to promote the African struggle heritage. Adwa represents by establishing a special university. The Adwa idea is but not yet realized. Let there be statues also in Adwa, all key leaders. There should also be records remembering the strategy was designed to create a decisive victory with the key calls from the leaders. I think I have done that already. Okay, continue. Continue. Brother Gashe Kidani Alemania has been consistently campaigning with petition for the Italian government and the Vatican to pay reparation, as they have done for Libya, to Ethiopia for all the genocide they committed when they fought Ethiopia in 1974, as they did at Adwa in 1890. The mayor even erected a statue for the butcher Graziani, but now it has been removed. The granddaughter of Mussolini is now promoting her grandfather, and this is crime against Ethiopia. So we really need to do that. Those ethnic politicians who are devaluing the great African victory by removing as Emily Kentenit Aitu have to apologize and ask forgiveness from all Africans who achieved dignity, pride, and agency from the great Adwa victory. Okay? I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof, for quite an insightful history and presentation on one of our victories in Africa against colonialism and imperialism. And I think in doing that, you bring us closer to the importance of history in the now, and so far as how we can shape a different historical understanding outside of this whole understanding that Africans are nothing but defeated and didn't resist to colonialism. So I think that was a very important lesson. But what itches me is perhaps is a reading of a particular history of the South African liberation movement, and which begins with the setup of the African National Congress, which is built around priests, chieftaincy, and all of the different grouping of elite. But what precedes that, of course, is the fact that there was an act that was enacted in South Africa at that time. In the Cape, for those who don't know, in the Cape, French has black people, especially the elite, who own property, were allowed to vote. And that clause was beginning to be challenged. Hence, Abu Khobzane and Unzwan were coming together to consider ways in which to contest this bill. But that kind of reading, Prof, seems to privilege something that today we're stuck with, a celebration of freedom when there's no freedom. You know, the 1994 arrangement, the reconciliation spirit of Dr. Nelson Mandela without any structural changes into the living conditions of our people. And of course, a particular history that seems to suggest that our struggle is a struggle to be integrated in a particular society rather than a struggle to change society in its totality. So I'm a bit itchy throughout the time. I mean, there's not even a reference to the Azanian liberation tradition, which in actual fact is the only tradition that seems to link itself to the broader struggles of Africa. Nowhere in the ANC seems to realize its own peculiar moment as linked to the broader struggle of Africa. So I don't know the kind of choice around what made you to do that, and whether it's also not part of a broader, historical amnesia to want to silence other forms of history that seems to be talking something different from Mandela or John Balidu. So that's a good.
So is there a specific question on that? Because it's...
Yeah, I think Prof.
Folks are very important. Robert Sobokwe, you remember he left. And Tanzania is still There's a Pan-African Association, you know that. The ANC, I think what happened was in the beginning, when they started with Ethiopianism, all right, there was this effort to really make a liberation movement. That was the idea. But in the course of time, there was many types of interventions. Different groups came in, and they influenced it a lot. So the ANC is not the ANC of the startup. It's now a different organization. Now we have a really serious challenge at the ANC. But the way it started, the initial ideas were very Pan-African. To say we're Ethiopians, when they say like that, all right, they are South Africans, but they say we're Ethiopians, it means the African agenda was in their mind. But in the practice side, you are right. There's a lot of not really many actions that we can appreciate and recognize are Pan-African. So we have a serious challenge. I think that we have a serious challenge on that issue. So your point is well taken, and we need to think now. The African National Congress now is in a difficult situation, as you can see, as a party. Lots of things are happening now, and it's not. I don't know what we should do. As I mentioned to you, is there any chance? What I just earlier suggested. South Africa has huge resources. All right. It should not be the Oppenheimers, Anglo-Americans that should own it. Why can't we learn from a little country like Norway? You see, why can't you learn also from China? You know, the Chinese are amazing. No, I gave a lecture once in Shanghai University. From China's perspiration, what inspiration can Africa learn? One of the things they did, which we should not ignore, is this. What the Chinese did. One, they don't like many political parties. When Deng Xiaoping in 1978 opened the Chinese to the world economy, people asked him, why don't you also create liberal democracy? Are you crazy? Do you want to create chaos in China? Even one communist party is too many for us, he said. No, I'm telling you. The reason what we need to do is, if we don't agree, take the time to re-agree. No need for us to have too many political parties. Why? We don't need it. And he also said the same thing. On the economy, we're opening the economy, but we are not going to just do commerce and markets. It's social market, he said. It's social commerce. You know what he meant by that? Shareholding for every company the Chinese operate on, here even in South Africa, a certain percentage is given to the state. You know what the Chinese did now? From 1949 to now, to 2020, in how many years? They abolished absolute poverty. There is no one who is poor now. This is extraordinary. 1.5 billion people are not poor. South Africa has only 54 million. What don't you have? You have so much resources. Is there any chance, even in South Africa, we create a system, even the ANC or whoever are the political parties, that instead of having all these different parties, yeah, and fighting each other and talking to each other, all right? Malema and all these guys, instead of doing that, is there any chance to say, we have the resources, how can the people of South Africa own it? How can they share? Is there a way we can create a system, an agreement, and when we don't agree, we take the time to re-agree? China recently, Xi Jinping, he wanted to extend his term for 3 years, so the third year. You know what they did to him? A lot of them disagreed with him. You know what they said? Let's discuss. For 2 months they discussed and they found a solution. Eventually they said, okay, we agree with you. They just know how to agree and disagree, re-agree. We need a culture like that, not all these competitions, all these silly things, and also values to make the people own the real wealth of the country. If we develop a political tradition like that, value, culture, dialogue, not fighting, then maybe a real solution might come. I don't know.
Okay.
Forgive me because I came to South Africa, but the good thing is at least I'm graduating so many PhD students, that's fine. At least we're doing that and then creating some venture startups. When they do that, I'm happy. But the country should be even a great example for all of us, including we must celebrate Adwa victory as not as us, as Rastas and so on. It must be a whole South Africa must be together with us. Even the government must be there. All of us should be together. It's an African victory, so why not celebrate it? Okay.
Thank you.
Presentation. I won't touch on the things I agree with that my brother have said. I think he has captured me quite well. But what was more interesting for me was this, reading that locates the genealogy of the struggle from, the Adwa battle and how it has influenced South Africa and all of that. And, the importance of, utopianism in the conceptualization of, African nationalism, which has also become Pan-Africanism, and which, went even beyond, the influence in the ANC, for instance, how the Africans that left the ANC.
Our demands and the struggles, yes, in South Africa, we see in the academia, we see. I think we also should make it, by all means, you see that we enlighten, you see the people will see more about this stuff, and also to try and support, all the emerging, yes, organization and stuff. We see that also are buying, into this discourse. Otherwise, with all that being said, thank you very much, Professor, for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think it's a very good question you asked. The problem is we have 37% of the young people in South Africa are unemployed. I mean, it's not good. They graduate and they don't get employed. Even the education system has a challenge. We need to change it. In fact, we're discussing this now. In the university where I am, we're University of Technology, we're saying we need to get the Bangalore model, the Silicon Valley model, so that all the students must know before they finish their graduation, they know what to do. I mean, seriously, this has to be done. It's not happening in South Africa. It's not nice. You have so many young people unemployed, and that's why you have crime, many things like that. The problem we have is the reconciliation was good with the Madiba and all of them. It was a political reconciliation. It is not, it's a political codessa. It was not an economic codessa. So the economic codessa was not created. So what you have is, as I just mentioned to you, the 16 minerals South Africa has, we are not many people, 54 million or so, we are not many, to be honest with you. Because China, 1.5 billion, yeah? India, how many? 1.4 billion. But South Africa is nothing, and the size of the country, South Africa, is twice the size of the country where we call Ethiopia. You have everything. And the minerals, you should be owning it. I just mentioned to you the Sovereign Wealth Fund. I actually, you remember the white paper on the National Science Innovation. I have been participating. The first part in 1996, my supervisor, Chris Freeman from England came. I participated in 2008, 2018, and now even the recent one. We're all, they invite us. I even said to Naledi Pandor, all of them, I told them, please create the Sovereign Wealth Fund for all the minerals in South Africa. Don't make it Anglo-American. Don't make it Oppenheimer. Please, please, I said to them. But they say they listen. They even put it in the white paper, but I don't see any practice. They say to me, they have created a financial area where there's a sovereign fund. I don't know what that means. I'm scared actually because